Their goal is to bring you a podcast that sounds more like everyone else than anyone else.
We need to accept the fact that we are like every other podcast.
Yeah, we want to be special, but we're not quite there yet.
It's the Zennial Odyssey Podcast with Remy and Bobby Rocks.
I don't mean to switch it up on you, but when you say you're picking up, how much writing do you do a week?
Let me think
Or a
about
day,
this.
even.
Okay, on your average day, weekday, 5 pieces a day, I'd say, sometimes 7. So we're looking at 30 to 35 pieces a week usually. But I try to work on the weekends too because, cost of living. It's just impossible right now. So, and honestly, even doing that and working my ass off with that, you still, as a writer, you still look for more. You still look because, you write until you can't, or you write until you're, financially well off, which as a writer is never. But I've been busy and it's been good, man. It's been consistent, which is nice.
So, I know you asked me, so thank you. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for asking. It's been a little tumultuous, professionally speaking.
Yeah.
And my job, again, I talk about it in the peripheries. I'm pretty discreet, but yeah, it's been a little tumultuous. There's some organizational changes going on, but maybe that can be content for another episode. But we actually came here with an idea, a recent idea.
Yes.
Every now and then we do topics off of real-time events. We do. And this one is no different. So on the way up here, Remy and I, we were discussing a docuseries. I think that photo you just took yourself is it's very realistic.
Thank you.
But we were talking about a miniseries, like a mini docuseries that's on Netflix.
Yeah, it was only about 3 episodes. Yeah, but they were decent length.
Yeah, and it is it's living rent-free in my head. So I figure, fuck it. Let's come on here and let's do a show about it. And it's basically what I'm talking about is it's titled
Most Hated Man on the Internet?
Thank you. I was thinking if I had it verbatim, but yes, The Most Hated Man on the Internet. It is about Hunter Moore, who started the revenge pornography site IsAnyoneUp.com.
Yeah. Bob had brought it up in the car and we had apparently watched it at the same time. And he's just like, we need to talk about this piece of shit.
Yeah. And not just that piece of shit, but what also came to my mind, because again, my mind will go down rabbit holes. I look at things from a cerebral standpoint, is I thought about things like Girls Gone Wild, Barstool Sports. I thought about all things that are very similar to this and the rise of it. It's kind of in the late 90s, early 2000s.
The embracing of it.
And then how, much like many things in our country, and the law caught up.
Yeah, which is good because a lot of people, specifically women, there were men involved too, but women were getting completely exploited.
Yes, violated.
Just the concept of revenge porn, the terminology in itself lets you know what you're dealing with. Like it's fucking disgusting, bro.
Yeah, so we're going to do pretty much like a segment on pretty much each of those. I think that's fair to say, Rem.
Yeah.
We'll do a segment on Hunter Moore. We'll do a segment on Girls Gone Wild. We'll do a segment on Barstool. Barstool's still around. Barstool's still huge.
Yeah.
It's kind of expanded. To be fair, I want to be fair to it, but again, we'll go into that.
Yeah, it's changed the game. It's changed its game.
They've empowered
bit,
women because they the podcast they have that the two younger ladies have, where they talk about it. They talk about it from like their perspective, which is kind of like a dude's perspective, but it's nice to see women talking about it empowered.
Yeah, and it's their platform to have. So
yeah, but we'll do what we always do. We will jump off. We'll play some music. We'll maybe come back. Maybe play. I don't know. We'll play.
We'll maybe come back.
Maybe we'll come back. Maybe they'll shut it. Maybe the family will shut us down. That's a little teaser for when we get into Hunter Moore. But as always, welcome to the Odyssey, and we'll hear you when we come back.
Hi, welcome to the island. I hope you brought drinks and swimmies.
I hope you brought bug juice or Capri Sun. So, Rem, do you want to start us off, or do you want me to start us off?
I mean, I could jump on this. So much like Bob, I'm sure we were both just sitting there in our houses in the evening, and we saw the trailer for Most Hated Man on the Internet. And I'm compelled by human tragedy and terrible people and the stories that people have to share. But the first thing I'm going to say, so Bob had already said he ran a site called Is Anyone Up, and it was a site where you'd fucking post photos of your ex's dingamadongle, without their consent. And first thing I had to say, and I asked Bob this in the car too, because I was curious, I did not know this was a thing that existed.
Me neither.
Like, and I consider myself a zeitgeist guy, as a writer and a web guy. I'd never heard of it. No friends ever asked me to look at it. It was never linked to me. So the whole story to me was brand new. But once you get, and same thing with you, Bob, yeah?
Yeah, same thing for me. Like, I remember watching this, and they said he started the site in 2011, and I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
like, where the fuck was I?"
We
Like,
would have.
then.
It would have been something that we discussed at our job, actually.
Yes, we would have.
No one did.
Because there is a lot of stuff that we've talked about so far on the podcast that is like the foundation stuff leading up our childhood, our developmental years. This shit came out when we were full-fledged adults.
Yeah.
No, Remy, you were in your 30s, and I was about to be in my 30s. Like,
Yeah.
we were full-fledged adults when this dropped.
But I had no idea about it. So watching this thing, long story short, think about if Limp Bizkit was a person.
Oh, fuck off.
Dude, tell me that's not a good,
It's good, but it makes me want to like hate him even more.
like, and no disrespect to the Biscuit. Like, and you know, it was 99.
But all disrespect to Fred Durst.
It was 99 and we all liked your shit, but it was the idea that there was a real frat rock rape energy to what they did.
Yeah.
And that is this guy personified. Douchebag haircut, like gelled black hair, kind of short. Looks like the lead singer of Third Eye Blind.
Oh, he started with the emo scene.
Yeah.
And he started that site as a musician, like musicians
like-
exposing themselves for like the notoriety, and then it just kind of went where it
Girls started and that was interesting too, because you'd hear that like girls wanted to be involved with it initially, which is very strange. And we'll talk about Butthole Girl soon. I know that sounds really funny. It's actually not, but it kind of is because she's a horrible person. But
She
anyway,
is a horrible person.
so this dude sets up basically a server that and just lets people send in anything. But like so guys who sent around dick pics were getting outed, and girls who did. But here's where it gets weird, okay, people? Girls take nude photos of themselves. Guys do it too, I imagine.
Mhm.
I mean, I've fucking done it. And in a lot of these cases, what started happening on his Anyone Up was a lot of the girls were like, I don't have a boyfriend and didn't send that to anybody. Like, and I'm going to be a dickhead for a second, because when the first girl said that, like she said it in front of her parents, and I was like, oh yeah, sure. Everybody says that. But no, people weren't just sending these in. That's a big thing that people need to understand. So you have guys trying to ruin their ex's reputations. And the big kick is, every nude picture on the site was attached to their Facebook profile. So a lot of these women were, what's the word, Bob?
Exploited.
Oh, well, I was looking for
Violated.
single mothers.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of them were single mothers. So next to their nudes would be a link to their Facebook with their kids. So there's a lot of issues here. But come to find out, they weren't all sent in. So anyway, I binged it in 2 days and I kept saying, I'm like, how's nobody fucked this guy up? How has nobody beat the fuck out of this Hunter guy?
Yeah, he needed to have his ass kicked.
Dude, the compelling stuff, train wreck. Bob, your thoughts?
Okay, so I watched it in one day. I just binged it one day, had nothing going on. I watched it alone, and my wife kind of came home halfway through. She was doing her own thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, honey, have you ever heard about this?
Had she?
No.
Wow.
No. And then we talked about it a little bit, and she kind of jumped in a little bit, and I gave her some background story. So for anyone who hasn't watched the Netflix documentary, it starts with Chrissy Laws, I think is her last name.
Yeah.
And
Poor girl.
yeah, so she was hacked. Somebody hacked into her email. Someone hacked into her face, all of her stuff. And she even said a few days before everything went public and someone brought it to her knowledge that she had to reset all of her passwords. So somebody hacked in. And then her pictures, she took nudes of herself and she emailed them to herself. And that's how someone got access to them. She didn't send them to anyone but herself. And somebody got access to them. Her and her mother reached out to Hunter Moore and asked him if he could take them down. And he basically was like, no.
Don't skip the step of this poor girl waking up one day.
Oh, yeah. And
It's a 1,000 notifications on her phone.
Yes. And then people would start to phone. People would
Did I
harass
say
her.
1,000?
Yeah. So 1,000. 1,000 is 1,000. 10, 100. Yeah.
Just making sure I'm not
All right.
stupid.
But yeah, people would. I was showing people, guys.
And even her friends were like, yo, did you see your pictures?
Yeah,
So it
but-
was just,
But I'm talking about guys. Guys would basically like asking if she wanted
let's
to fuck.
fuck.
Yeah, but that they're doing that on her Facebook. They're doing that on other social media. But they're also calling her because they got a hold of her phone number and they knew where she lived. She may have gotten mail, but she was getting harassed. And she didn't do this stuff on. This wasn't like revenge, what the site is based on. Basically, Hunter Moore was kind of like, oh, tough shit. And then her mom got involved. Her mom is now an advocate for exploitation
Her
of people.
mom's the shit.
Yeah. I mean, Remingly half jokingly said, I mean, that her mom invoked her white privilege.
Yeah, when you have a husband bring home $2 million a year
and is an attorney,
you can completely stop your life and focus on your daughter's nude pics. But God bless her for that.
Yeah, exactly. So they reached out to his attorney, and his attorney kind of said that he's not doing anything illegal because he's not the one.
By the way,
uploading
how slimy was his attorney?
Well, I think most attorneys are slimy, but this one, in that moment, you're especially slimy.
He's like, yeah, but then later, the funny part, little twist about him later on, he's like, oh, this guy's a dirtbag, and he quits.
Yeah, well, probably because the money ran out. I mean, let's be honest. This site, by the way, was only up for like 18 months to 2 years.
You know what I'm thinking now that we talked? It must have been West Coast centric.
Yes, it was. They were from California.
So that's how we didn't really find out about it, because it wasn't people around us getting destroyed.
No, but you hear about like this guy. I mean, when I'm like, so there's a part where he got so huge that there was a writer for Rolling Stone that followed him around on the road. He was a musician, but he basically turned into a DJ and would have these live parties. It sounds a lot like Barstool. Mm-hmm. It sounds a lot like Barstool. Like when Barstool, I don't know if they still do the live shows as much, but
you get girls drunk and
it's a big party and there's an orgy and
yeah.
And he's like a rock star. And he's a DJ. Yeah.
And you're seeing women. This is not a joke. Okay. This fucked me up. You're seeing women lining up outside a green room to fuck this guy who's a monster.
Yes.
Like what? Doing coke off his dick? Shit that you think is made up. This female reporter saw.
Yeah. Yeah. She basically saw all this debauchery going on. But now let's go back to the father, the British father who was an attorney. So at first, he didn't know anything about the
guys. When we say British, listen, imagine like the most buttoned up, she didn't quite, you shouldn't put your nudes online. Like at the beginning, I didn't mean to step on your toes, Bob. Apologies. At the beginning of his bit, you're like, oh, this guy's out of touch. By the end, you're like, this guy's fucking amazing. That's all I'm going to say about him.
Because once he got involved, it was like, oh, now it's done. Now the ball's rolling. They went all the way to the FBI. And the FBI got involved with Hunter Moore, and the process takes a long time. But in the meantime, Hunter Moore started harassing back at the laws.
Vile. And posting vile shit on Twitter.
But then he had a group of followers who called themselves the Family. And these were the fans. These were like super fanboys that would just go on and they would troll, have the most atrocious comments on a lot of the photos. They would be the ones to share it. And it led to ruining people's lives.
Yeah, 100%.
It did lead to ruining people's lives. But a part of this is the laws started to fight fire with fire. And I credit them for this. This was ballsy. They released his home address and his phone number.
Yeah.
And they basically were like, let's see how you like it.
Double docs.
Yeah. But what did the family do? The family was sending them those like fucking kidnapped, taking letters out of magazines saying all the horrific things, how they were going to torture and murder them. And they still advocated that. And that takes courage. That takes courage beyond.
Back up a little. You're screaming it right into the mic.
Okay.
Or I'm too far away. That might be the case.
Oh, but I have my limiter on, so.
Oh.
I mean, so I'm screaming to you, but I have the digital limiter on.
I have my G-string on.
I think I have the limiter on. If I didn't set it, fuck it. I'll just have to edit.
Yeah, and they would show these live events that he would have, and it would just be gross. He'd be like on mic being like, which one of you guys am I going to fuck tonight? And then he'd be like talking to the mic, and he'd be like, I'm the guy that fucks your girlfriend. Shit like that. Like just basically he was the last archetype of a person that I hope doesn't exist anymore.
It still exists, but
they
I know what
they
you're saying.
can't be celebrated anymore because of the dialogue, though.
Yep. Yeah. So by the time the FBI finally gets involved and they're investigating, what did they find out? He was paying a guy to hack into people's computers.
Well, that's what
and steal the images and information.
And like, that's the mom's angle. She's like, we can go after him federally because this is a fucking federal crime.
Yep. Especially because they were doing it across state lines.
How crazy was it when you found out, at least for me, that the dude who was doing all the hacking, who ended up getting 20 years, was getting paid $200 a week by him?
Yeah, well, I mean, fuck them both. I mean,
but $200 a week to ruin your, because at least he said to Hunter at some point, he's like, bro, I don't know, this is illegal. Hunter's like, shut the fuck up and do your job.
Yeah.
And the thing that Bob didn't mention about the army or his family, he'd post shit, okay? I don't think I've ever seen this. He'd post something on his social media like, hey, family, fucking punch yourself in your face until you break your nose and then drink the blood.
And people would do it.
And you see these videos of these dudes. And I'm not talking like, just listen to the sound like this. punching themselves in their face at full speed till their noses break.
Yep.
Like, so there was a level of disconnect with his fan base that I found a little appalling. And like, yo, these are the kind of people that will show up at your house and rape you to death.
So what happened to him? There was a moratorium put on him where he couldn't have access to social media for a certain amount of time while he was going through the trial process.
Well, wait, let's not jump to the money shot yet, because let's talk about how he did end up kind of disappearing for a second because the site got taken down.
Oh, yeah. And then he had John Moore 2.0.
Then he had the bravado of being like, oh, because he said this thing that disturbed me, and we never got to find out what this is, but he's like, oh, on the new site, there's a lot more than just porn. You mean like snuff and shit? Like, what are you saying, dude? And that was the thing. And so the mother of Laws, the Laws girl, had talked to over 40 other people whose lives were just literally ruined. Like, people were suicidal. They couldn't have relationships and shit.
Lost their jobs.
And so it was at the point where people knew who Hunter Moore was. The initial site was down, so people were relieved, but he was like, a new one's coming. And he was like naming people on Twitter. Like, he called out that mom, and he's like, I'll fucking stick my dick in you and your daughter's mouths till you choke. Like, I mean, this guy was a fucking appalling, right? And then how did it change? The mother is sitting there on the computer, pop up an email from someone. Let me check this out. We are anonymous. We are aware that you and your daughter have been abused, among many other females. This will stop now. We are in your corner. Literally, she gets an email and she's like,
savagery.
And at first she's like, oh, am I just get, because she was in the mindset of everyone's trolling me, everything. So she didn't believe it. The next day, Anonymous is on, dude. They're doxing him. They fucking lock him out of his bank accounts. He can't get his own money. Bro, Anonymous, we salute you, bro.
Yes, thank you.
Holy shit. In a day, they essentially cut off all his avenues of revenue. Avenues of revenue. They just did what they said they were going to do. It was an attack on him that fucked him. And his whole thing was, well, the second site is still coming. Nope. Anonymous won. Yep. And that's when the shift happened where he moved into court in his hole. What about his demeanor change, bro? From coked out frat bro to walking with a coat over his face.
Oh, yeah, because at that point, he didn't feel like he was invincible. The invincibility was taken away, and he realized that, you're just like everyone else.
Yeah.
Yep. But then he eventually... So he's indicted. He's federally indicted.
Yep.
For people who don't know what it is to be indicted, it's this, for if you've ever, like me, if you've ever been involved with the courts, it's the equivalent on a federal or a grand jury level of being arraigned.
Yep.
So it just means, okay, there's a crime here. We feel there's enough compelling evidence to move forward with a trial, because that's all it means on a grand jury level or a federal level. And he pleaded guilty. He ended up pleading guilty to the charges, and he did 2 years and 6 months?
Yeah, it was something
He did
ridiculous.
2 years and 6 months in prison. He was, upon release, now he had like 3.5 years of probation. And during that time, which I believe ended last year for him, that he couldn't have a social media presence.
Yeah, he couldn't. He was banned.
But beyond the fact that I think that was a criminally low sentence, probably because he pled guilty, the fines that he had to pay, I think in total they amounted to $3,000.
Yeah, something like 3 traffic tickets for any normal person.
And I'm not talking civil suits, because they did bring like class action,
of course,
civil suits against him. All of the victims, the Chrissy Laws' mom, like organized these people, and also kudos to her that they went after him separate from this as a civil and to get money. And I believe they got several $100,000.
I'm sure they never saw it
out of him. Yeah, they probably never saw it, and he's bankrupt as shit now, and good for him. Hell's not good enough for someone like him.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, listen, it was a dude who was a sociopath and a narcissist who had never been held accountable. So no matter what, I promise you, in some way or another, while he was in jail, he figured out a way to continue doing this when he gets out. We may not know what it is. We may not be aware of what it is, but there's no way this dude tuned from douchebag to okay guy. People like him, too, they don't understand that they're doing crime for their time. So they feel like they're being punished, so they just get more resentful and more hateful. So I would not be surprised if somewhere buried on the web in that guy's fucking name, there's already some gross site where people rape alligators or some shit.
Now, we've talked about... Now, I want to make something clear before I go on to this next part. There were men and women were both exploited on this,
I know what you're going
on
to
this
talk
website.
About now.
There were many people who I empathize with, and they were innocent victims. There was one person that is, I know, fuck. I mean, they're as deplorable as he is.
Yeah, listen, people can call it victim blaming or whatever. There is a line between victim blaming and being honest about something that went down. And in this case, like, feel free to talk about the girl, because I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
She fucking bothered me so much.
For anyone who ever followed this or has watched the Netflix documentary, I'm talking about quote unquote butthole girl. So Butthole Girl.
By the way, she just tells
She tells her story matter of fact.
Yeah, like, I'm Butthole Girl. And I remember being like, I should make a TikTok out of that. And I'm like, no, this feels wrong.
So she starts it by saying that she started to post images, whether it was to that site or not, when she was 19 years old. And she wanted to use this as an avenue to make money to move out of her mother's home with her 2 children, with 2 different fathers. 19 years old. 19 years old.
Listen, we know it happens, but
yeah, and I know it happens.
We're trying to paint a picture here.
But not everybody says, "Oh, I'll just make nudes of myself and be this kind of deplorable person."
No, listen, no. Not that nudes make you deplorable. It's what she does next.
That's my
guys.
intro into what she does next.
I know.
Relax.
Women. We just have to be soft. We have to be gentle.
Relax. This is not represent TikTok. This does not represent influencers. This represents this one individual.
It's true.
Who sold themselves out.
Well said.
Yeah. And so she was drinking with some friends, and they were like
showing her the site,
live streaming it, showing her the site. She started to get to know Hunter more. She was openly posting her own photos to his site, so he knew about her. But this is different. A bunch of friends, like, they're all Skype videoing or whatever, and one of them dared her to insert a bottle of mousse into her anus.
Yeah, and
she did it. And unbeknownst to her, someone was recording it.
But she was saying that I was doing this because I wanted Hunter more to know me.
So she doesn't. So she looked at it as like, okay, it's going to get me more known, and it did.
It did.
But what Hunter Moore and what this other person did, again, they linked it to her Facebook profile, and above this picture of her inserting a mousse bottle in her anus is her Facebook profile with pictures of her children. So she reaches out to Hunter Moore, and she asks him if he can take it down.
Well, wait, again, don't skip the fact that there's like 2 months where, like, she's doing other photos that people are asking her to put stuff up there and shit. But she's only upset because if you look at her bottle ass, right next to it is her 2 children.
Yeah. And so she's asking to...
Which she knew about, by the way, by looking at the site. She knew Facebooks were linked.
Yeah, it's fair. So she asked Hunter to take it down, and he said no. However, he kind of went quid pro quo. He said, if you insert a phone into your anus so that I can call that phone and we could put that video up, I'll take down the pictures of your kids.
Well, wait, I got to context it again. I apologize. But so he actually just says no initially. And there's like 2 months where she's just wicked fucked up. And so she becomes an alcoholic. This is key to it, because he knew she was, so she's like, I was posting about being drunk. And 2 minutes later, he Skyped me. So he knew in this particular instance. But she also saw her life going negative, and instead of being like, this is fucked, she went full bore in.
Yeah. And so she did it. She inserted a phone in her anus so he could call her, and they videotaped it and uploaded it. And she started getting requests for things. And then, when she was depressed, because eventually the fathers of her children, like, went to family court, and they said,
She's Butthole Girl.
This is not a good influence on our children. We think that we would be better as the custodial guardians of the children. And so she's depressed about that, and she's drinking a lot. And she gets the Skype from Hunter, who asks her to insert her entire fist into her anus.
That's what it was. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. The fisting of the butt.
Yep. And eventually she
sorry, they almost showed the video. She's laughing.
Well, they show up until the insertions.
But she's laughing. She's having the time of her life.
Yep. Yeah, so she doesn't present as somebody who was vulnerable and all that. For the sake of brevity, I'm just gonna say, I don't feel sorry for her. No, she was knowingly doing things that she should have known better.
And there's 2 times later on in the documentary where she clearly, whether she meant to or not, says that she continued to watch his site every day and obsess over him for months.
Yep.
So I think that with her, what was her name? Christy Laws? What was it?
Christy Laws is the original one.
That's what I'm saying. When she talked, you felt for her.
Yeah.
Her eyes had pain. And she's just like, this wasn't supposed to happen. The second girl, Butthole Girl, felt like she was bragging, retelling her story.
And looking for an opportunity to brand herself.
Yeah. Because sorry people, but we're not born yesterday. She's doing this fucking interview in her apartment. What is it, bro? It's all circle lights, candy colored neon things. It's all cam girl shit, you know? And like, yo, make your shit and stuff, okay? Make your shit literally because you're shoving shit in your ass. But like, there was a level of, I pitied her too. There was a level of self-hatred that even me can't even fathom. Like, because at no point was she like, this dude ruined my life. But she leaned more towards, she made it seem like other people shoved the shit up her ass. And every time she shoved shit up her ass. And listen, I figured the Skype where he asked her to do her fist was probably him just coercing her. Bro, she's giggling the whole time. Like, they show non-sexual footage. And like, I don't know. She struck me as really off. And I hope she's okay. Because there was a lot of fucked upness there. But yeah, I didn't walk away with sympathy for her either.
right, so now let's switch it up to one of the precursors to a site like this. The famous, I think everybody knows about Girls Gone Wild.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, but now let's talk about Joe Francis. Joe Francis is the creator. In the early days, he was the everything producer, the advertiser. He was the everything for Girls Gone Wild. And
these were by the way, these were videos, guys, in the 90s.
Yeah,
that
you could buy off of TV at 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's so, and it was just listen. Long story short, if you ever watched one of those videos, you're watching sexual assault.
Yeah, exactly. They're purposefully going to like spring break parties, and they're waiting until 2, 3 in the morning when people are inebriated, and they're asking for their consent to put something on film, and other things as they started to up the ante as they went along. Because the foot in the door, the dipping the toe in the water was really just getting girls to flash their breasts.
They would give them T-shirts. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they would do like wet T-shirt contests, and then more of that. And eventually it devolved. And I'm not going to say evolved. It devolved.
No, it did.
It devolved into like girl on girl, like pornography.
Like they have a bus outside the bar.
Yep.
They find 2 drunk girls that have them sign a waiver.
Yep.
And here's the thing too. They would undersell it initially because girls who didn't know what it was, they would be like, "Oh, no one's going to see it."
Yep.
And so girls would be like, "Okay." And then they see themselves on the fucking commercial on TV.
Yep. And unfortunately for a lot of those in the early days, even inebriated or not, I mean, they signed a contract. It's ironclad.
But that's
which sucks.
And that's where I mean, the flip happened too, where it's like, "Oh, okay, well, guess what? Signing a waiver drunk isn't signing a waiver."
Yeah.
So things were put in place as a result of it. But like for $20, you could order video and then be in like Mardi Gras, and they'd just be giving girls beads and these average like college girls would just be showing their tits.
Living their best life, thinking, "Oh, nothing's gonna come of
Yeah,
this."
this just like a flash it at a July 4th party, thinking that only the people who see it, you know? But like, it was such a pro-rape structure.
Yes.
It was so aggressively weird, and you would never see like someone walk up to the camera. You see the camera guys walk up to girls, and I guarantee you, if there was real footage, you'd see girls who were like, "No, no." Then they buy them more shots, dude. They buy them more shots till they say yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But now you have a generation of women, and a lot of them are moms now, who have those skeletons in their closet, unfortunately, because they were ultimately victimized in that scenario.
Yeah, and so it took about a decade before he really started to face.
And he became a millionaire off their tits. They got nothing.
Yep, he became very, 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 very wealthy. And around 2007 is where he actually started to get into the legal trouble, when individuals started bringing civil suits against him. And a lot of this tells you about, similar to Hunter Moore, how much of an egomaniac he was. Mm-hmm. He would be his own attorney so he could cross-examine them and try to intimidate them and all that.
Break them down.
And so he would actually get himself in trouble. I love this. I'm reading this right now. In 2007, he was found by a judge contempt of court because when he was cross-examining there were 4 women that joined together to bring the first civil suit against him.
Yeah.
And he asked the woman outright, "Are you a prostitute?"
Wow.
Yeah. So he was found in contempt of court for that. And
what a dick.
Yeah, that was another one. He was sued, and 2012 is when people really started going after him. Stephen Wynn, the defamed Stephen Wynn, by the way, was obviously another wealthy person, successfully sued him for $20 million for, he said that I'll be back. So he also was one of those people living a rock star lifestyle. So he accrued he was one of those people playing like backroom poker in those casinos with like Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods.
$5 million hands.
Exactly. With a small blind is $2.5 million and the big blind is $5 million. And obviously he accrued a big debt because a lot of those people could just wealthy people could just roll into some place.
Yeah,
and
nothing.
It's like, yeah, okay, you pay the tab later or whatever, but he didn't pay his tab. And then when Steve Wynn brought something like, "I'm going to bring legal things against you," he openly said that he would murder Steve Wynn. So Steve Wynn was awarded $20 million for slander.
Yeah.
And then the jury, because they found this guy so deplorable, they awarded an additional $20 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Which he never paid.
Oh, of course. But at least you stand in that lane of victory.
It wasn't until around 2015 when this guy really went away. And that's because he started getting in criminal trouble he didn't do a good enough job filtering out people who were under the age of 18.
Yeah.
He was essentially accused of prostitution being the forefront, because I think that's where the easiest avenue, the path of least resistance was. Yeah. So that's when he started to go away. But I mean, for from 2003 is when he started to have actual criminal charges. So he was a very bad person.
It was crazy that you, like Bob said, you'd be sitting home watching Conan O'Brien because the ads would only run late at night. And then it's this video. It's like, "Do you like hot girls? Do you like young naked girl?" And then it's like, you see the bars and the people are just sweaty and it's gross. Sloppy. And it's not something I've ever found attractive, to be honest with you. But like, I guess it's one of those like beat off things for high school kids in the 90s. But honestly, I can say that's another case where I'm glad. But none of my friends owned any of them weird ass videos.
Right.
I don't know anyone who was like, "This is cool." But the idea that in both of these examples, and this is heady, I know, but they're 2 men who raped so many women without actually physically raping them.
Yeah, but he got criminal charges eventually for false imprisonment, and because at that point he's like, "Do you know who I am?"
Yeah.
Nobody says no to me, because that's how these narcissists, that's how they are. They get so heady and all that they are above the law, they're above reproach, and nobody says no. They get anything they want.
And then it just all comes down.
And then it all comes crashing down. And that's why I don't think he's still in Mexico, but when he just eventually put himself in exile in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too bad a cartel didn't get a hold of him.
Hey, that we know of.
That we know of, yeah.
If he's doing the same shit out there, someone will get him.
Yeah, but to me, this is really, again, it starts in the 90s, but this is a foundation for the people like Hunter Moore. It gives them that.
Oh, 100%.
Like he sees himself as probably saw himself as like a Renaissance guy who is just the logical next step of what Girls Gone Wild.
And you know
was.
what? All this too. Like, I'm sorry, but all this we got to take it back to the Alpha 1 Omega, the godhead of all slimy mistreatment and exploitation of women. It was the Howard Stern generation, dude.
Yeah.
It just was. That was the shit. Any radio DJ was disrespecting women and being stupid and sexual.
Yep.
That crossed over into the Limp Bizkit type music. That crossed over into all. If you watch a lot of late 90s movies, they're wicked hate fueled, and there's trans jokes and there's black jokes, and it's like, it was.
And hip hop. Hip hop was there too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Certain things weren't even fucking addressed in hip hop yet that are getting addressed now. But people always think like, the 60s and 70s. I think every generation has a period of lawlessness, but I believe the lawlessness of the late 90s, early aughts, I hope it was the end of that true era of just women in chains. Because a lot of people thought that ended in the 70s, but no, it didn't. Because and the other thing me and Bob talked about, let's talk about too, just to finish it off, all the pickup artists outside of bars at 2 a.m, like waiting with their cell phones to do a video to make out with some girl who's blacked out, bro. Like, what? I was glad when I was young. My dad sat me down and was like, yo, he didn't talk like hip hop, but let's just go with this. He was like, yo, son. I'm like, yeah, Dad, what's up? And he's like, a drunk girl is not a consenting girl. I'll never forget he told me that when I was like 15. He's like, bro, they do shit they don't mean to do. And the next day, he's like, that's assault. And so like maybe a lot of dads didn't tell their kids that. And, a lot of things in the 90s, too, is like, in the early aughts, like, what are you guys doing? Oh, you get your date fucked up.
Yeah.
Drinks, booze, weed, whatever. But it's like, I think more people are realizing, like, that doesn't fly anymore. That whole model doesn't fly anymore.
Yeah, and I'll call it a dinosaur. It is a dinosaur to an extent, is Barstool Sports.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to mention that. I mean,
Yeah.
they've evolved a lot, but
Yes, they have. But they started with come on. And I used to watch it too. Yeah.
rape ragers.
Yeah, or if the smoke show of the week.
Yeah.
And the words that they would use on the videos on the images to describe what they would sexually do to that person, or guess that ass.
Yeah.
Guess that ass, where they just show the picture of a famous celebrity woman of her wearing yoga pants, and would just be zoomed in on her ass.
The chive, too. Remember? Did you ever
Yeah.
fuck with the chive?
Yep.
There was a lot of that where it was a real, I want to say a dehumanization of women in like a different level.
Yep.
Because that was also the time, and I think we've talked about this, of Maxim magazine and all those magazines that were like, we're going to make, Kate Winslet sit in a chair erotically.
Yeah. Now, granted, Dave Portnoy, who started
Still doing it.
Barstool, and he's still doing it, from Massachusetts. He moved it down to New York City. And then it started to change, I think, when he moved it down to New York City, which was like 2011, 12, around then. So it did start to change and brand out. And I said earlier that now Barstool has like the Mean Girls podcast.
Yeah.
And it does have a revolving door of cast of of female hosts on that podcast. But the whole thing about that is that it's from a woman's point of, it's empowering of women because it's them talking about like sexuality, or it's them talking about, I know I don't know if I did it on the podcast, but one of the reels that they have out there is where they like men to ejaculate on them during sex. But they talk about it from a standpoint of, if someone is going to do that into your face, it is the most you are not a human being to you. Whereas someone's like, no, I like them to, where one of them literally says they like it done on their stomach because it's like the sexual act is to its fullest for both of them.
Yeah.
And then they pull out. And then they talk about the real, like realistically, but when it starts to ooze down towards their vagina, they're like, that's up. But
you got to build a quick dam.
Yeah, exactly. But they're talking about that from their standpoint.
But that dialogue's important. Whether or not it makes
it's open. And it's open. And one is married, one is single, and they both talk about that.
It's like our dichotomy.
Yeah, they talk about that dichotomy. What?
Sorry. Fuck. I'm single.
You know, I gave you the one that works right.
That doesn't moan.
Yeah, no, I gave Remy the mic stand that isn't like broken.
I'm gonna break it.
Yeah, and he the reason we don't have nice things.
I'm gonna break it.
I just want to point out too. I took the broken mic stand and my mic hasn't moved. I'm just saying,
dude. I'm a ball of pain and nihilism. Things around me just break. But I guess at the end of the day, I'm glad the dialogue has changed. That used to allow all this stuff to be okay. And I feel like the best part about the Hunter documentary is the fact that it's a relic. You're watching a relic of a dead time. But just be prepared to want to punch this guy in the fucking face. Yep. He knows how to play the wrestling heel. He knows. And obviously, we're in a world that's much more sensitive to women being victimized now than ever before. We're no longer doing that boomer thing where it's like, oh, what were you wearing?
Yeah, and the laws of our country have caught up.
But the problem is they've also stepped back, right? Because as much as this is
Isn't
in
that
place,
how it always is?
Yeah, as much as this is in place,
when the spotlight is on, it's going to be to the umpteenth degree, and then when the spotlight fades, it's like,
no more revenge porn. Also, you have to have this baby.
Yeah, no more revenge porn until. Okay, revenge porn is fine.
Right? Like, let's flip it. Let's prioritize. But anyway,
as long as you put a disclaimer on there that it's not actually real, that nobody's going to read.
Yeah, right. Tag that.
Let's not bullshit here. There are people that it's a fetish people have of revenge, like posting those videos. You know, where a man is like thinking about if it's like, oh, my girlfriend broke my heart, so I'm going to post these videos we have of intimacy. Yeah, that's a fantasy out there. It still exists. You can go on Pornhub and find it. Yeah.
I mean, I made a joke when I broke up with my girlfriend, but my joke was like, I was going to leak some revenge porn, but I forgot she puts hers out officially.
Oh, there it is.
Can we change the rim shot into a oh? Can you find a?
I don't think the Zoom has an. Oh, I'll have to look that one up.
All right, let's change the rim shot though. Let's come in with something next week to surprise me. Just because it's so boomer, dude.
What if I? Okay, all right. You leave it open ended to me like that.
It can be anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna come up with monotonous things, and then I'm gonna come up with things where you're like, that's gonna lose us an audience.
We don't have an audience.
We don't, but it's gonna lose our any momentum that we may have would be just to shit at that point.
We're so close to like just naming all our 13 listeners every episode.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. Listen, we say it all the time, but you got to learn to crawl before you can learn to run.
It, man.
And I don't mind this. I know I've had conversations with my wife where she's like, "Well, what about the promoting of it?" It's like,
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
That's my thought too.
It's fine.
Hey, let's alleviate the end of this discussion a little bit with Bobby and I ran into each other giving blood this week.
Oh yeah. I rolled up after I got out of work, and I probably looked like I was decompressing from that day. But when I looked and I saw Remy in the window, he literally looked like the saddest child ever.
But I was stoked when I saw Bob because I'm like, oh, game on. Like, I kind of tormented Bob. We were at different ends of this huge room.
They separated us. That was their mistake.
And I kept being like, Bob, are you still getting sucked? And I'd be like, where you at? You know? And I kept trying to race him to the end. I wanted to get my blood quicker. And he fucking beat me, but the whole time. And then, like, we joked that we were going to have a knife fight out in the parking lot. We're obnoxious. I'm obnoxious, and he tolerates it, is more accurate.
Yeah. But my favorite thing was the lady who came out and you made it look like we were actually going to do a knife fight. And then she walked around the parking lot like she was going to go to a car, and then she went to the bar that's right down, like 2 buildings over.
We fucked her up. Because I'm like, oh, someo's coming out because me and Bob were talking.
Great. She's done 2 things here. She has donated plasma for the money to go to the bar, and because like it's going to be easier for her to get lit.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even make that connection. Yeah. That's instant, dude.
Yep.
That first cigarette after a plasma donation's nice.
I liked how when you were like, do you ever get an after shit? Want to have to take a shit after this? And I'm like, sometimes. And you're like, all right, see ya.
Dude.
And you were out.
It's happened to me twice now.
You were out.
So yeah, guys, check the documentary. So let us know what you think. And I think the over-under is that we watched something that was appalling, but thankfully we were watching something from a time capsule.
And also, because you brought it up, kudos to people like Anonymous.
Oh my God,
that they've made it their goal to like just completely destroy and annihilate people like Hunter Moore. And like I said, for people in basically Massachusetts, Turtle Boy Sports, at least what it originally was really about the scum of the greater Massachusetts area, like really putting them on blast and ruining their lives, which should be,
which is kind of dope. Yeah. And so like, obviously
to me, it's almost like the pendulum swinging the other way. Like for every action, there's a reaction, and the reaction to people like Hunter Moore and to Girls Gone Wild is people like Anonymous and Turtle Boy Sports.
And they're actually making a difference. So you gotta give them a shout out. But yeah, I think that'll do it.
Yeah, that's a good place to end for this episode. So as always, everybody, that's our take for the day. Take care, everybody.
On the next episode of the Zennial Odyssey podcast, Remy and Bobby Ross discuss.
We thought about talking about this, but we're going to do 60 to 90 minutes on Pap Schmears.
You brought up that it would be great to talk about the stupidity that we engaged in our teenage years and our young adulthood.
Yeah.
And what that made me think of, for me, that time coincided with Jackass and CKY. There's basically a 4 to 5 year window that I'm talking about here.
Okay.
1990, we'll just call it 5. 1999 to 2004.
That wasn't my circle, but that was not unheard of for the 90s at all. My situations were a lot more about internal debauchery than external debauchery. There is a moment you come to in suburbia where you're like, oh, this is a dead fish. There's an image of the suburbs, but I still don't think it's really accurate.
For me, the suburbs are where the stuff that happens in a city happens. It's just people try to keep it from being seen.
The suburbs are like war. War never changes. The suburbs never change.
New episodes are released every Tuesday morning. Find the XOP on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, our Facebook page, or YouTube.